It's part of our philosophy of think tanking here at Snape Maltings to bring together people from slightly different perspectives to look at the same topic. So we've got with us for the next 2 days, we've got people who work practically hands-on with music with young children. We also have the head teacher of a nursery school. We have someone who works in childcare from a local authority perspective. We've got an expert in primary education, particularly knowledgeable around language and literacy, as well as researchers in creativity and music education. Because the fact remains that access to music in early years in the UK is not consistent, the quality is not consistent, and there isn't really enough investment in it.
It has started with an interest in song, and in particular children's invented song, their capacity to generate music, which happens very early in life, and they use song and music for a range of purposes, for their identity work, for the ways in which they try to make sense of the world, for the ways in which they engage with other people. I view song as a vital part of human learning and development. Vital part of being a human.
I'm particularly interested in this notion of what counts as musical behaviour and development across the lifespan, and how critical the early years can be for, if you like, setting our developmental agenda, both into later childhood and adolescence, and even into adulthood.
I'm really interested in how music can support children's speech, language and communication, but also issues of attachment. So how music can help create relationships and bonds between children and their parents or carers, or children and their primary caregivers, perhaps in a nursery setting, and also with other children.
I think the most urgent issues are that the researchers in the field, in the world of psychology and neuroscience and social science, as well as education, they're providing us with evidence of how musical we are as a species.
Lots of research has showed that sort of environment children are in affects their mood, it affects their behaviour, affects their ability to be creative, and so to my mind that's something that's come out of this quite strongly.
So my main concern is the artists, the artist educators who can do that work with very young children, who can kind of work with and see what is emerging in the room and emerging in the space, and work and improvise and work pedagogically with that.
So the issue, I suppose, is not just in this particular case of why we're here in Snape at the moment, we're thinking about well-being, are there things about engaging in the sound world, including music, which will enable children to develop, to have a much richer experience of life through sound that will feed into other areas of development.
I think the main thing I'm going to take away is, for example, I have the opportunity to build some of the possible actions into my work for the Helen Hamlin Centre for Pedagogy.
I think one of the key things that's come home to me, or is resonating with me, is the whole issue of confidence, self-esteem, which is tied up with well-being of not only young children, but all those really surrounding a young child that can either make music happen or not.
I think it's been really interesting. I think the whole area of pedagogy, particularly interested in the idea of exploring non-verbal pedagogy, exploring that. A lot of the issues are around the workforce, I think, both the music leader workforce, but also the early years professional workforce. There's great discussion. There's some really brilliant kind of expertise and knowledge in the room as well.
So as an academic, we all want to be interdisciplinary, but we find it very, very hard to have those conversations. So one of the things that I really appreciated about today was the careful facilitation of allowing people to speak.
It's extraordinary to be here with the history that comes with the place, but it's also the spirit of the natural environment. So there's a sense of peace and grace that pervades the entire environment, walking out through the fens, and has been an extraordinary way of contemplating ideas, engaging in conversations. It's a unique environment.